everyone, how's it going? It's that nerd Ryan here. I'm kind of weird on lighting right now because it's like almost 10 at night. So I got back from Shazam Fury of the Gods recently, and we're going to talk about that today. So I want to disclaim this really quick by saying that like DC movies are at a weird point right now. Being with the relaunch of the DCU and everything, we're kind of up in the air with the next few movies, what's going on. And I know that they stated that like these movies count, but I feel like that is just business talk to make sure people go and still see the movies. But we'll get to why I'm saying that towards like the end of the spoiler talk. Because I do feel that being in the back of my head really affected my view on this movie. But other than that, it's a 2 hour and 11-minute movie with 2 post-credit scenes. Kind of setting up stuff, also not at the same time. So yeah, it's a little confusing on how things get set up because we don't know if it's going to matter anyways or not. So let's just, before we get into spoiler talk, let's talk about the major things about it. So for setting and everything, I thought it was a pretty good setting, and we got to see some cool stuff. For the script and comedy, the comedy was spot on. The script was okay. There were some flaws that, like, this isn't really a spoiler, so there's a, like, I want to say almost a G plot, that there's a lot of plots in this movie, but there's like a issue that they have that the family is running low on money because the checks for the older kids are not coming in because they're out of the foster system. And they like kind of set that up to be like a big part of the story, and then they kind of forget about it, and then they mention it at the end. And when me and my friend were talking about it, it was like kind of like revealing that like you have like it's an inside thing for how to explain this. So just like mentioning that you have a problem and then never speaking of it again. So they're literally like, oh yeah, we bought the house. And then that's like it for the whole, that's how they solved it. They didn't like make a big deal about it or like anything. Like it kind of felt like they forgot about it and then we're like last second, oh, we gotta mention something about this to resolve it. Yeah, we bought the house. And then like that, yeah, that's how that felt. The like visual effects in this were great. It was cool seeing Greek monsters and everything like that roaming around. The soundtrack, the songs that they chose were great. I mean, we got to hear Sabotage, which is one of my favorite songs. I Need a Holding Out for a Hero. Some other songs, just like a great pick of music for this movie and for the cast. The entire Shazam family were good. 2 of the sisters of Atlas were alright. And unfortunately, Lucy Liu's character of Khaleesi was one of the worst villains I've ever seen. I felt like it was very poorly acted, in my opinion. And also for visual effects, there were some points where you could tell they're in front of a green screen or stuff didn't feel fully rendered. Mainly with the dragon, which isn't a spoiler. You guys, there's in the trailers the dragon and everything. But yeah, so overall, I'm going to rank the movie as 7 out of 10. And with that, if you haven't seen the movie yet and you care about spoilers, finish watching the video after you've seen the movie. If you really don't care or you have seen the movie, feel free to continue watching. So this takes place, I believe, 4 years, or almost 4 years after the last Shazam movie. We know that because Billy is about to turn 18, and he was 14 in the first movie. So the big issue is that, one, the team is not working together that well. They're kind of causing more havoc than saving or at least it's spinning that way. They're even known as the Philly Fiascos. And that's another thing, is they keep saying how they don't have a name or anything. Then we also are introduced to the Daughters of Atlas, who are gaining their powers back through the staff that got destroyed in the first Shazam movie. Their whole plan is to replant the tree, to reintroduce basically Greek mythology into their world, along with getting their powers back from Shazam. So we see them try to save the day and fail. We also see Billy's best friend, I forgot his name, is kind of getting more cocky with his powers, and then he also ends up meeting this girl at school, which I will say, right when I saw like how she was acting, I was like, I actually thought it was Lucy Liu, as playing as a younger version of herself in disguise or something. But it turns out that this is Anna is her name. She is the third sister of the trio, which it's Anna, Khaleesi, and Calypso. Calypso's the oldest one, Khaleesi's the middle child, and Anna's the youngest. So literally like 2 scenes after that, after Billy finds out that through a dream that they're coming after him, which it was a pretty funny scene. His dream date was that he was with Wonder Woman, and then the wizard from the first movie uses Wonder Woman, her body, but it's his head while they're talking, which is kind of hilarious in my opinion. Sorry, my back is very itchy. Then, like immediately after that, his friend gets basically tricked by the 3 sisters and ends up having to go to, or ends up having them lock down Philadelphia, and they take him away to their prison along with where the wizard's been. In that, we then see them trying to figure out a way to get their brother back, and they try to distract the sisters. And in that, this Calypso gets captured during a fight scene where she purposely did so. She breaks out. She steals the one item that they need to basically get the tree, and then Khaleesi is like, well, we're gonna do it on Earth, so she does it on Earth. Ends up releasing a bunch of Greek monsters. Everybody but Billy loses their powers, and Anna ends up being good. And in the fight, Calypso ends up changing sides too, where she dies, but she's also still surviving, and she helps Billy shrink down the barrier and blow up the tree along with the dragon that they have to fight. In that, Billy dies, and what bothered me about this is it is a literal direct rip-off of Endgame. He says Shazam, blows up the tree and the dragon, and everything turns to ash, or leaves, but ash, and then Billy dies. And this is also what I wanted to say with that, is with how up in the air all the DC movies are right now, I kind of looked over at my friend and I go, it feels bad, but I really don't care that Billy died. Like, I was like, I know I should feel like emotionally connected and everything, like, oh no, now there's no Shazam, blah blah blah, but with the DC EU being up in the air, what made this movie matter? Like, why does it matter? That's what I was thinking through the whole movie, was like, especially during that, I was like, why does any of this matter? But anyway, so they have a funeral, and then Wonder Woman shows up and brings Billy back. and basically the end. Everything else, it's the family rebuilding their house because the dragons destroyed it. I'm sorry, I glanced over that because, like, honestly, the whole third act or second act felt like this was only a 2-act movie. It was cool, but it was also kind of bland. It was cool to see, like, the Greek monsters and them figuring out how to fight a dragon and just fighting a dragon in general. But at the same time, it was also, like, just kind of a bland fight. I believe that Shazam 1 did way better than this movie, in my opinion. But it was streets ahead. But at the same time, the humor on this was spot on. It kind of saved the movie, in my opinion. And yeah, that's basically how the movie happens. I know me summing it up kind of shows how I feel about the movie. And yeah. So that was another issue that I was saying to my friend, was this movie felt like it had a 2-act structure instead of a 3-act structure. It kind of went from, like, establishing stuff for about 15 to 20 minutes of the movie, and then everything else, it was like the climax for the rest of the movie. And that's what made it start to get uninteresting, was that there was just too much going on, no room to fully breathe, and it was just like pedal to the metal all the way through, and then 5 minutes of conclusion. Which some movies work good like that, but this one, I like how the first movie was kind of like a coming-of-age, laid-back story, and this one turned into not so laid-back and pedal to the metal. And I even, to my friend, I compared it to Ant-Man 3, where the movies that precede these two had a very different low tone to it compared to these movies where it's like very, very high stakes, which made it feel very weird. I mean, there's some dark stuff in this movie that I glanced over. We have a character walking off a building and ending everything. And like stuff like that where it's like it kind of just comes out of nowhere and it's like, oh my god, that just happened. I even think I said that in the movie, where, like, yeah, there was scary stuff in the first one, but it was more laid back and laxed. But yeah, so Wonder Woman being in it was cool. The 2 post-credit scenes, let's just talk about those really quick. The first one was having characters from Peacemaker show up and ask Shazam to join the Justice Society. We also get a Marvel nod in that scene where he calls it the Avenger League or the Avenger Society or something like that. But yeah, that was pretty funny. That was a good... I don't know how they're going to expand on that, considering that this movie's up in the air, if it's going to get a sequel, or if Zachary Levi and Asher Angel are still going to be Shazam. And then the second one was literally a troll just making fun of post-credit scenes. It's an extension of the post-credit scene from Shazam, and the bookworm, or whatever he's called, goes back to the doctor and everything, and he's like, I'm finally ready to reveal my plan to you. My evil, evil plan. And he's like, tell me! And he goes, oh wait, there's one more thing I gotta do. And then that's how it ends. I thought that was hilarious. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell, and follow me on all my social media down below. It's that Nerd Ryan telling ya.